and welcome back to the Oklahoma Today Show. I'm your host, Ben Lucian, and this is your favorite weekly Oklahoma travel show. To my left is senior editor Carly Ibarra. Carly, where are you taking us this time?
Today, we are going to Oklahoma City.
Oh, okay. That's a good place.
Not far.
Nathan, where are you taking us?
We are going to the historic black town of IXL. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
Okay,
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm taking us to Sulphur, home of genuine Billy Cook trail saddles. It's a historic business here in Oklahoma that we're going to learn more about. But first, a message from our friends at Visit Edmond.
Hey Oklahoma, join us for a free family festival with live music, cool vibes, and a new Olympic sport, beach sprints rowing. The Route 66 Beach Festival is happening August 29th and 30th at Arcadia Lake in Edmond. Hang out for the day with classic Surf City tunes, beach games, food trucks, and a swim area to keep cool. The Route 66 Beach Festival, August 29th and 30th at Arcadia Lake. Follow us on social or at Route 66 Beach Festival.
One of the most storied saddle makers in Oklahoma. In Sulphur, Oklahoma is genuine Billy Cook trail saddles. You may have heard of it. And I've got the owner here, Adam Trenk here. Adam, thank you so much.
Ben, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Give me sort of the backstory of, you're the owner now. How did you become aware of genuine Billy Cook, and how did all that go down?
Yeah, absolutely. The short version is actually the company's been around a lot longer than 30 years. It's been around for 73 years.
Oh, yes.
Billy Cook started making saddles in 1953 in Greenville, Texas, but he moved to Oklahoma in 91. So it's been 35 years in Sulphur, Oklahoma. And I became aware of the brand as a little kid. In fact, before I was born, my grandfather bought 2 Billy Cook saddles from Billy at his shop in Greenville, Texas. And I grew up riding in those saddles with my father and my uncle. And then when Billy passed away in 2019, I ended up acquiring the company and saving it from bankruptcy.
Yes. And then, so you grew up riding some Billy Cook saddles?
I sure did, yeah. I actually grew up in the great cowboy state of New Jersey, believe it or not. But my family was in the thoroughbred racing business before I was born, which is how my grandfather found his way down to Texas and bought those saddles. And our family's always just sort of been Western equestrian enthusiasts. You know, we did a lot of trail riding and that type of thing, and grew up wanting to be a cowboy because of my experiences sitting in those saddles.
Interesting. And it just so happened, so you relocated to Texas, and I guess it just so happened that the Sulphur is kind of in that vicinity, right?
Yeah, Billy moved to Sulphur in 1991, so that was long before I had any involvement with the company.
Yeah.
He had been in business in Texas and had a partnership that went south, and actually that entity did go bankrupt, and he decided to move to Sulphur, I believe, after they offered him some sort of an economic development incentive to create jobs in that community. And so it's been there ever since 1991.
What are some of the things you hear? Because I know there's probably multiple generations of customers. What do you sort of hear from them when you're talking to them?
Well, everybody over the age of 40 who rides horses, or at least is in the Western world, not necessarily in the English equestrian world, recognize the name Billy Cook. And at one time, probably from like the 60s until the late 80s, Billy had, probably the preeminent saddle brand. I mean, he really revolutionized saddle making. And today, Greenville, Texas remains sort of the epicenter of, modern production saddle manufacturing. Kind of think about like what Detroit used to be for the automobile. But when his partnership in Greenville fell through and he moved to Oklahoma, the quality of the product started to slip because his old partnership kept using his name. So he was kind of competing against himself. He wasn't there to oversee the quality of the manufacture. And so in order to compete in the marketplace with that lower quality saddle, he went to sort of a quantity versus quality production model. And so it kind of became like a middle or lower end saddle for nearly 30 years until I took over. And in 2020, which was the first full operating year that I had it, I began to restore the reputation of the brand as a premium product.
What are some of the things that you've done to sort of restore that sort of premium quality?
Sure. Well, I realized early on that competing in the marketplace, by by cranking out high volume and lowering the price was never going to be a successful business model, because we're living in, an international, global marketplace, and they can make saddles overseas for far less money than we can build. And if, quality isn't a concern, we'd never be able to compete. So I decided to try to restore the company's reputation as a premium product. And by doing that, we just slowed down production. We had capacity to build probably 250, 300 units a month. I cut it down to about 100 that first year. And we began to source higher quality materials and pay greater attention to detail as we were assembling them. And then slowly began to increase the price as the market began to recognize that it was a better product.
Now, tell me a little bit about a bit of a curveball that hit you all. Is that I believe the saddle factory was hit by a tornado, right?
Yeah, sadly, on April 27th, 2024, a huge tornado hit our community, and we had sort of a little complex. We had 6 buildings that were warehouses, factory, and office space buildings. And all 6 of them, along with, I believe, about 300 other structures in the town of Sulphur, were destroyed on that fateful day. So that was a tough blow, because our first profitable year after I took over operating the company was in 2023. And 4 months later, after rebuilding the company from the inside out, we had to get started rebuilding it from the ground up.
Yeah. So I remember the sulfur tornado. It was just like heartbreaking. And so you had to go from the ground up, like you said.
Yep. So I had owned a piece of land about 4 miles outside of downtown in Murray County. So it still has a Sulphur address, but it's not in the municipal limits of the town of Sulphur. And we decided to rebuild the factory there, primarily because, the bureaucratic backlog of not only like the physical reconstruction of clearing the debris field, but also getting through the permitting process at town hall, which was just overwhelmed by, the recovery effort. Would have taken too long. We would not have been able to get back into business in time. So we decided to build in the county, still having Sulphur, Oklahoma address, and still proud to be a part of that community, but just a couple miles outside of town. And we've got a new facility there that we were in, believe it or not, about 13 months after the tornado. We started work out of that new building.
Oh, wow. So how have you all been able to bounce back since then? And also, more broadly, the community of Sulphur?
I just put my nose to the grindstone, and I have a great partner. My general manager, Jody Raymer, helped me, and we didn't take no for an answer, and we got our new building up. And in the meantime, we were operating out of a garage space that we rented and we were using borrowed equipment just to keep our people working, during that year-long period while the new building was being put together. Sulphur has taken a little bit longer to recover. Over the last few months, you've started to see some new businesses open up where old businesses had fallen. But there's still a lot of vacant lots in the downtown area. But my hope is some of the things that we're doing are going to spur the economic redevelopment of Sulphur in a big way going forward.
Oh yeah, and I think Sulphur does have a lot going for it. I mean, it's a very beautiful place there. I mean, with the Blue River nearby and the recreational area. I mean, yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah, we have Chickasaw National Recreation areas there. Lake of the Arbuckles is there. It's a beautiful area. Turner Falls isn't far. I mean, Sulphur is really a phenomenal destination. And, when we rebuilt the factory 4 miles outside of town, I had the idea that we should build an arena adjacent to the factory so that we could have some, smaller horseback, competitions and things to get some foot traffic through our showroom. Because when we were downtown, we had a little showroom in front of, one of our factory buildings, and we would get some foot traffic and do some retail sales. And being 4 miles outside of town, kind of down a county road, we weren't going to get that traffic anymore, because those were tourists who were coming and staying at the Artesian and going to see the Chickasaw Rec area and whatnot. So we built this arena. But what it ended up growing to be something much bigger than I had originally anticipated. For one, it cost me about 5 times what I had budgeted for to get in. And once that happened, I decided we had to have a bigger event. And then it occurred to me, we can really create a marquee event in Sulphur. The area is ripe for it. It's cowboy country, it's cattle country, it's rodeo country. And we can put something together that creates an economic engine for the town. So We had our inaugural Sulphur Stampede event just this past May, and it was a phenomenal success for our first event, and plan to do that annually.
The customers who come to Billy Cook, what sort of riders are they, or do you get just people from all sorts of backgrounds, riding for all sorts of reasons?
Absolutely. So, historically, when I bought the brand, I would describe our customer base as kind of the weekend warrior. It was people who owned a horse, but horses weren't how they made their livelihood. And they might compete, but competed casually as amateurs. And they did a lot of trail rides and that sort of thing. What I've tried to do with the business the last 5 or 6 years is reposition it to be for the professional rodeo athlete and for the working cowboy. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not selling saddles to the folks who are sort of the hobby horsemen, right? That still makes up a significant portion of our business. But I want the product to be of such a quality that, the people who make their living horseback are using it. And we've actually recently been validated in that regard through a new partnership with the PRCA. We were named the official saddle of the National Finals Rodeo starting this year in 2026.
Awesome.
I think that's a huge validation for what we've done and the position that we put the brand in, but I think it's also amazing for the town of Sulphur.
Yes.
Sulphur, Oklahoma is going to be represented on the national stage at the NFR in Vegas in December.
Now, I can't remember. Did you say that you had any sort of a competitive riding background, or I can't remember?
No, not even a little bit. I grew up riding horses, and I take my horsemanship seriously. I've started colts, and I've trained, try to make a good horse. But as I mentioned to you, I grew up on the East Coast, so the type of riding that I was growing up, didn't really prepare me to be any type of a rodeo athlete. So my GM, Jody Raymer, who I mentioned a moment ago, he's a professional horse trainer, and he's actually won the world in team roping through the AQHA, and he's a phenomenal professional horseman. And, I've lived my life horseback, but I've not made my living that way.
Right. Growing up in New Jersey, did you tell people, yeah, I do some horseback riding, and you getting strange looks, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of horses in New Jersey, and I don't know if this statistic still holds true, but at one time there were more horses per square mile in New Jersey than in any other state in the country.
Interesting.
And the reason for that, as I understood it, is threefold. One, it's a very small state, so you don't have to have a lot of horses to have a lot of horses per square mile. Two, there was a very thriving racing industry there, both trotters and thoroughbred racing. And then also the United States Equestrian Team, which is, I believe, the U.S. Olympic riding team, is based in New Jersey. So there's a big industry there, but it's not a Western industry. I was sort of an outlier as far as that's concerned. But as soon as I was able to be emancipated from my parents, I moved out at the age of 18 and I moved to Arizona. So to kind of pursue a more Western lifestyle. And I've lived with a horse in my own backyard since I was 25. So.
All right, there you go. Well, so what about you have horses now, or?
I do. All my horses are in Sulphur at the moment. I'm speaking to you from my office in Arizona, but I go back and forth to Sulphur. I spend about half my time there, and I've got a little place actually on the same property where the factory now stands, and my horses are, in the corrals there.
So you mentioned official saddle of the PRCA rodeo, which is really exciting. Any other like big events or happenings going on with Billy Cook?
Yeah, so the PRCA is to the sport of rodeo what the NFL is to the sport of football. It's the sanctioning body for professional rodeo in our country, and their big event, their year-end finals, the National Finals Rodeo, is akin to the Super Bowl in football. And so we've created a partnership with the PRCA where they selected us to be the official saddle of the National Finals Rodeo. And so we're really gearing up for that. And this is, no pun intended, but it's our first rodeo, so to speak. The company has never done anything like this before, and neither have I. So we're mostly focusing on that between now and the end of the year. But as part of that partnership, we are also the official saddle of two other events that are, lead up to the national finals. And that's the NFR Open, which just occurred this past weekend at the Pikes Peak. And then there's the Cinch Playoffs, which I believe happens in September. So we'll be providing the trophy saddles for those events, and we'll have some exposure there as well.
All right. Well, it sounds like there's so much excitement going on around Genuine Billy Cook. So I thank you for coming on to the show, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity. I know my team does. We have over 20 people who work for us full time, who all live in Sulphur, who, we're really trying to make a good economic impact on that community, not only by keeping those families employed and keeping this art of saddle making alive, but also through this Sulphur Stampede event that we intend to grow year over year as a celebration of our culture and to, help bring tourism dollars back into our community after the tornado.
Yes. And before we go, when do you have dates for the next Sulphur Stampede? Or
I sure do. May 6th to the 9th, 2027. So we're a little less than a year out. We only just had our first event a couple months ago, but mark your calendars. It's Mother's Day weekend of 2027. We're going to have rodeo. This next year's event is going to be sanctioned, hopefully, and we're going to have a concert. We had a kid zone this past year, which we'll do again with bounce houses and mechanical bowls and that kind of thing. We had a lot of great food, live music. It's a fantastic time for the whole family.
there you go. Your Mother's Day plans are already set. You got the Sulphur Stampede, the Artesian out there. Sounds like the perfect weekend to me.
Absolutely.
Adam, thank you so much.
Ben, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience.
All right, and we are back. That was a fantastic interview. I didn't know much about their trail saddle business before, but they have a long history, and they make some really impressive saddles.
Yeah,
So,
it was cool.
yes.
They're a cool bunch.
Yeah, absolutely. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Happy to be here.
Yes,
Yeah.
as always. I know. We're always happy to be on the podcast studio. So question of the week this time. We just talked to the owner of one historic business. So let's think about some of the other historic businesses here in Oklahoma. There's some that go back several decades. Nathan, what comes to your mind?
The first thing that comes to my mind, and it's probably the first thing that comes to every Oklahoman's mind, is Cattleman's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Very historic.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's legit delicious. I've always had a good time there. And the other one, it just wouldn't be this podcast if I didn't say Brahms.
Yeah.
That's true.
Brahms.
Oh,
70 years
absolutely.
old, I think, this year or something.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty old.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It
So
feels
that's-
so much older.
it
I'm not
feels
going to lie.
so- it's eternal.
It
It
does
has
feel
existed
eternal,
in its
yeah.
platonic form throughout
For
eternity.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, throughout the universe.
Yes. And Sonic is not like locally based right now, but
It was
has
founded here.
Oklahoma roots, and that dates back.
Yeah,
too.
it was founded here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 absolutely.
What about you?
Well, what about Carly?
Oh, what about Carly? Oh, I forgot. So
let's get to me
sorry.
first.
Yes,
I am
ladies
so
first.
sorry.
So the Skirvin was the first thing that I thought of,
Oh,
which
good.
is
Oh,
the
yeah,
oldest
yeah.
hotel in
Oh,
Oklahoma. It
man.
opened in
I
1911.
love the Skirvin, by the way.
Supposedly haunted. Very nice hotel either way.
Lovely.
And I've actually stayed there before. So I was having a hard time thinking of historic businesses just because it's not something that's like always on the front of my mind. So I did a little bit of research, and Griffin Foods, which makes syrup,
Yeah.
mustard,
That's
things
a great
like that, very old company, was founded in Muskogee. Also, Griffin Media
Mm.
was founded the same year in 1908, but they're not the same.
They're not the same family.
Which is so random.
wild.
But
Yeah.
two Griffin Enterprises, two totally different ones, both founded in the same year.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of the media companies here kind of go back.
Yeah.
over the
Yeah,
years,
for
so
sure. Yeah,
that's a
and
good one.
Griffin is the oldest continuous media
Okay.
company
Yeah.
in the state. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, those are good ones. One of the ones that I wrote down, I mean, it's in the song, the BC Clark Jewelers.
Oh, yes, of course.
1892.
Of course, it's the middle of summer. We're not. Our heads are so not there. That's a good one.
We're
yeah.
not in that space right now,
Yeah.
but
I'm also not
definitely-
in that tax bracket, so.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Another one that goes back, Kane's Ballroom.
Oh,
Oh,
heck
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great one.
Celebrated 100 years not too long ago. So many amazing shows have happened there. I've been lucky enough to see a few of them. Also, keeping it in Tulsa, Ike's Chili.
Ike's Chili,
Yes.
a favorite of Will Rogers himself.
Uh-huh.
I love Ike's.
Yeah.
I went there when I was working on that story. I wanted to put it in there, but I couldn't work it in. But it was good.
They don't open up restaurants like that anymore. I don't know why. Just some chili. Why not? You know? It's worked for Ike's for what, 100 years or
100
close
plus,
to it?
yeah, no, way more than that. It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
old. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So Ike's Chili, check it out.
Good answer
for sure.
Yeah, love that.
What about you at home listening to this? Yeah, I'm talking to you right now. What historic business comes to mind for you? leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And we will be right back with Podvents right after this. In Oklahoma, arts play an essential role in bringing communities together, enhancing quality of life for Oklahomans, and positively impacting our economy. The Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition is a nonprofit that helps develop the Oklahoma visual arts community through education, promotion, connection, and funding. Since 1988, OVAC has worked closely with Oklahoma artists, educators, organizations, and communities to ensure visibility and opportunity while promoting public interest in the arts across the state. To learn more about how the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition supports artists and to personally contribute to a growing Oklahoma arts scene, visit ovac-ok.org or follow OVAC on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. All right, and we are back with one of my favorite parts of the show. This is Podvents. It's where we go through the travelok.com event calendar and pick out a few of our favorites, just as Carly has done today. Carly, what have you got for us?
Oh, I do have one of my favorites, and I actually saw this last time. It was in Oklahoma City, but on August 11th through the 23rd, OKC Broadway presents Hamilton, which you're probably, if you're not sick of it, sick of hearing about it, then you definitely need to see it. Tickets start at only $42, which is really good. If you were actually going to see it on Broadway, you would be spending a lot more money.
A lot.
And it's going to be at the Oklahoma City Civic Center, obviously. Very comfy. It is just a little warning. It is 2 hours and 45 minutes, so make sure and go to the bathroom before it starts so that you don't have to leave in the middle of it. But Hamilton is amazing, and it will restore your faith in American politics, at least for a little bit. So, highly recommend. Go to okcciviccenter.com to get tickets. I don't feel like there's not really anything else to say about it because everybody knows about Hamilton
I'm
at
not
this
kidding.
point.
I have never been to an OKC Broadway show and not had the best time. They bring in such good stuff.
They're so good. I have never in my entire life been like, oh, I wish I had seen this on Broadway. Like, I'm always so happy that I went to see it.
No, they're great. They're amazing performances. They're they're the national touring companies of these shows. Some of these people were on Broadway in the shows. You know what I mean? So like, it's just, oh god, I'm gonna have to get tickets. I love that show. That's gonna be good. Good one, Carly.
2 hours and 45 minutes is actually shorter than.
It's a Marvel movie. It's not
Odyssey.
that big of a deal.
That is true. I'm not saying it doesn't feel long. It definitely flows. It's just that, like, for people who drink a lot of water, just, fair warning.
Yeah. Yes.
I like to be prepared for these sort of things.
Come with your camel.
Hydration is important.
Yes.
Planning is important. I get it.
Nathan, what are you doing?
Yes.
You guys ever had purple hull peas? Purple hull peas?
I kind of don't think so.
My dad, I've been thinking about my dad a lot lately. He had a garden when I was a kid, big garden, really, really big. And one of the things he grew every year was purple hull peas. And I just remember my dad saying, purple hull peas. It's one of I can hear it. Every time I think of the phrase, it's in his voice. And he would sit in front of the TV and like shell purple hull peas. And we would cook them. Anyway, so we are going to go to the historic black town of IXL. This is in, if you don't know where it is, it's in Okfuskee County. It's northwest of Okemah, northeast of Boley, if you know where those two places are, on State Highway 48. And this is the Pink-Eyed Purple Hull Pea Festival.
Okay.
What a mouthful.
I know. The Pink-Eyed Purple Hull Pea has been a staple in black farming for centuries. It's a very big deal. And so at this festival, you're going to have cooking demonstrations using pink-eyed purple hull peas. You're going to be able to browse a large selection of fresh produce, which sounds so much fun. And you're going to learn about the history of black farming. It's going to be a really cool thing. Go to IXL. It's August 15th. It's all day long. And there's no website or anything, but you can call. There's 2 numbers you can call, and I'll put them up on the screen so you don't have to memorize what I'm about to say. 918-892-9870 or 918-706-1606. That sounds really fun. I think I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Did they taste similar to black-eyed peas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They're kind of like black-eyed peas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they're purple hull peas.
They should collab with the Flying Purple People Eater. Just like, we're making a Justice League.
The pink-eyed purple hull people eater pea festival.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's in IXL, and that town is the letters IXL. IXL is one way to pronounce that town.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So that's gonna be really fun, August 15th.
Yeah, IXL. I've never been there, so I gotta check it out.
I've been to Boley, but I haven't been there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, so mine is really kind of self-explanatory. It's Jazz on the Green in Tulsa. There, Saturday, August 15th on the Guthrie Green, and it's exactly as advertised. It's a lot of amazing jazz musicians out there for a free music festival from 7 to 11 p.m. that day. They're bringing in artists. Joe Dyer is from Tulsa. Phil Denny, Michael Fields Jr. also from Tulsa, and I believe runs the event. And also, they're bringing in this neo soul duo, Kindred the Family Soul from Philadelphia. Yeah, they're a big deal.
I heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done work with like Snoop Dogg and things like that. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, so this is it's more than just sometimes you have these sort of music events outside that are just kind of they're sort of frequent occurrences. This is like a pretty big festival. Like people travel from outside the state to come to this one. So Jazz on the Green there in Tulsa. In addition to the music, of course, there will be food trucks, vendor booths, and a splash pad for the kids.
Hey.
Or, adventurous adult might
Or
want to
the
run to a
adult.
splash pad. the temperature calls for
It's
it
hot.
sometimes. Yes, absolutely. So that, again, it's a free event, and you can go to jazzonthegreentulsa.com to learn more information.
Cool.
Is there any better way to listen to jazz than outside?
Oh, yeah.
Like I just think it's it adds a layer of like fun to it.
Yeah. There's something about, we talk about how hot it is, but I don't know. There's some sort of magic with like watching music outside in the summer.
There is.
I
don't know.
can't explain it, but
Jazz and R&B to me are like summer night music.
yeah.
Like that's what you should be listening to on a summer night.
Yeah,
Jazz
absolutely.
and R&B.
And the Guthrie Green is a gorgeous space.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out if you get the chance. All right. Well, that has been Podvents, and we will be right back with Star of the Show. Who's it going to be? You'll find out after this. And we are back, as promised, with Star of the Show. And I've got to go back out to Sulphur and give it to Genuine Billy Cook, the great saddle company. I know they're fired up to be on the show. We were fired up to have them. So congratulations on your Star of the Show win here. And that will actually do it for us on the show this week. This has been the show, known from here to Watauga, home of Romano State Park, as the Oklahoma Today Show. Head to oklahomatoday.com or pick up our latest issue on newsstands right now. Send your feedback to oktpod@travelok.com. We'll talk to you again next week.
Goodbye.